George R.R. Martin will never finish the Game of Thrones, and here's why. George R.R. Martin has been writing the Game of Thrones for nearly 30 years, I should say, and yet he is yet to finish them. I do wonder if it will ever happen. I will say what I'm saying here is complete subjection, it's complete theory. But first, a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Mountaineer brand. All natural products for everything that you will ever need, from deodorants to beard oils to shaving products to skincare and more. Discount code, as you can see, don't forget to try them. Absolutely fantastic, great company. I use their stuff daily. As someone who is basically allergic to everything, their products have been a godsend. So, like I said, discount and all the info you need below. George R.R. Martin's unwillingness to finish his series kind of worries me, in the sense of as a creative, as someone who struggles to sit down. ADHD is such a fun mix. Struggles to sit down and struggles to do stuff like this. I do understand where he is coming from if it's creative burnout, because it's very easy to burn yourself out on something, especially when you live it for X amount of decades. Because think about it, Game of Thrones is almost 30 years old. That's a huge leap. So that's a thing. But I think it's very easy to burn yourself out on it, and maybe not wanting to say goodbye to the series that kind of started it all for you. But I do wonder what would happen. I do wonder if it will be published within his lifetime. That's a question that a lot of people are asking, because he is getting older. He isn't, in my opinion, physically the best shape of his life. And I do wonder if we will ever see this book published within his lifetime. The Winds of Winter has been teased constantly, and it's been a constant flow and a constant thing of information about it, and little notes and little tidbits here and there, but nothing ever comes of it. There's been tentatively teased dates, there's been all of this stuff, and it never happens, and I do wonder why. I do think, this again my personal opinion, he stretches himself very thin. I think as a creative he's involved in every project in some form or another. Virtue signalling aside, I respect that. I do, because writers tend to lose control of their work when it gets adapted. And so far, The House of Dragons has far more promise than The Rings of Power. Again, I wonder how they're going to do this, and I do wonder how he, his team, whoever is involved in this book, is going to get this book out. I do, like I said, will it come out in his lifetime? Do I think it's creative burnout? Do I think he's just bored with it? Yes. And I can't imagine living and focused on that series constantly, through time, through everything. Be it the books, be it the TV shows, be it companions, be it this, be it that. He is also writing everything else but the sequel, I should say. So rather than writing about the characters that he's probably bored with, he's going and doing other things, and that makes sense from a creative standpoint. The problem is, he's got a huge following of people that want this book, and I just have a really odd feeling it's basically finished. I just have this conspiracy in my brain where I'm like, this book is finished, but I think he's unwilling to release it. I think it's a first draft. I don't even think it's left. I say finished. I mean it's like there is a book, it's written, it's unedited, it's unfinished, it's parts, but there is a draft. There is something close to finished work somewhere. And I do wonder, why doesn't he just bring someone in? He could bring in a great fantasy writer just to go in there, take everything and turn it into a novel, if he's that worried. Have it, bring someone else to write it. I know it's a different thing, but the Brandon Sanderson Wheel of Time stuff, bring someone in who knows the work and the story, rather than just letting it linger until and it's post after your lifetime. Because I think that would be a really sad way for the Game of Thrones to end. Another thing I've always said is that, and I do say this as an artist, as a creative, I get it 100%. Some days you just don't want to do it, you don't care, you don't want to write this crap, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. and that's completely understandable. But the problem is, if he doesn't jump out and get this book out, why there's momentum, why there's hype, there's going to be a problem. I also, and I'm going to put this one out there, I have a theory the reason it was pushed back was the limping to the finish line of the final Game of Thrones series. I've said this in another video. I like the overall plot of the Game of Thrones series, the final season. I liked how it was done, but it needed 3, 4, 5 more. It needed more episodes to fill in gaps, because a lot of stuff just happened. It was like we're rushing to the finish line. There was no breathing room. And I do wonder how much of that is going to be included, because I know there were notes, and apparently, rumour, there will be an ice dragon in the final Game of Thrones book. So I do wonder who this is going to be. I do wonder who's going to even be interested in this book at this point in time. A lot of other writers tend to slow down with their series, and I do understand, again, I understand it, but I do wonder, especially with George R. Martin, there is a lot banking on this. There is a lot of people that want this book, and you know, even if it's terrible or a disappointment, it's going to sell a hell of a lot of copies. It's very simple on a pure marketing scheme, because again, creative person, you do have to think with a commercial mind, unlike some of these comic book pros that tweet about it's a red flag if people talk about money. It's like, this is why you're broke. Again, who? Why? How is this going to happen? How is this book going to come out? Will it come out? But is it worth waiting? Maybe the series should stay as it is. This is another theory. Maybe the end will be the disappointment, because no matter what happens, this book will never live up to the hype that has been created around it. This book will never live up to the pure hype culture that surrounds it. And that must be a terrifying point, and why I'm not standing up for George R. Martin here, because I also have another theory that it's just downright laziness at this point. Maybe that's part of it. And now we come to the laziness. Maybe he's just, I can't be bothered. That could be a distinct and real possibility, and I do wonder who, why, what, all of this stuff. Maybe he just can't be bothered. Maybe he's concentrating on Game of Thrones, the TV series, House of Dragons, and HBO, and all of this stuff. Maybe that's just his new focus. A lot of writers that get very successful in TV shows and movies just tend to stick to that after a while, partly because it probably pays more. Let's be real about it, it probably pays a hell of a lot more. So I do wonder. I think if he doesn't get this book out soon, I think it's going to lose momentum, and it will be disappointing. It needs the momentum of the House of Dragons. It needs that push forward. But I have a theory we won't see this book in his lifetime. Just a theory. So tell me what you think in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later.